Tonight from Hollywood, the makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you Ronald Colman in Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days on the Hallmark Playhouse. Each week, Hallmark will bring you Hollywood's greatest stars in outstanding stories chosen by one of the world's best-known authors, the distinguished novelist, Mr. James Hilton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Hilton. Around the World in 80 Days by the great French novelist Jules Verne is the story we shall dramatize tonight, a story so famous and delightful that I'd like to offer just a personal comment on the title. Around the World in 80 Days was a very quick time for Jules Verne's hero, who lived nearly 80 years ago, long before the first flight of the aeroplane. Nowadays, of course, the round-the-world trip has been made in 73 hours, 5 minutes, and 11 seconds. But there's one other thing worth remembering about Jules Verne's hero. He didn't need any passport or visa or permits of any kind. He just went round the world freely in those 80 days. Wasn't that wonderful? Personally, I think it's the most wonderful thing of all. Well, to star in this charming story tonight, we're happy to welcome again to our Hallmark Playhouse that very distinguished actor, Mr. Ronald Colman.
Now, Hallmark Playhouse presenting Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days, starring Ronald Colman.
My name is Phileas Fogg. I have resided for some years at number 7 Savile Row, Burlington Gardens. My tastes are moderate. As pastimes, I enjoy reading the papers and playing whist. I insist on cleanliness, efficiency, and punctuality at all times. I once dismissed a servant because he brought my shaving water at 84 degrees Fahrenheit instead of 86. On the morning of October the 2nd, I shut the door of my house at exactly 11:30, and having put my right foot in front of my left 575 times and my left foot in front of my right 576 times, I arrived at my club in exactly the number of minutes and the number of steps required. I had my usual lunch and joined my customary partners for a game of whist.
I say, did you all read about that robbery today?
Yeah, the blighter had a lot of cheek, didn't he? Taking £55,000 in banknotes right from the cashier's table.
As one of the directors of the bank, I can tell you he won't be at large very long. We've offered a sizable reward.
Well, I think the chances are in favor of the thief. He's obviously a shrewd fellow. There are no photographs of him.
We have a good enough description to get him without photographs. And where would he go? No country's safe for him.
Well, I can't agree with you.
Then tell me where he would go.
Well, I don't know that. The world's a big place.
It was once. Cut, Thomas.
Just because you can go around the world in 100 days doesn't mean it's smaller.
You can go around the world in 80 days, Mr. Stewart.
80 days?
Hardly seems possible.
I have estimated it most carefully. From London to Suez, from Suez to Bombay to Calcutta, Hong Kong, Yokohama, San Francisco, New York, and back to London. It can be done in 80 days.
Well, that's all very well and good. But what about bad weather? Contrary winds. Suppose the Hindus or the Indians pull up the rails and pillage the luggage vans and scalp the passengers.
That's all included in the estimate. 2 trumps.
Well, I'd like to see you do it in 80 days. I would wager £4,000 that such a journey under these conditions is absolutely impossible.
I am willing to wager £20,000 that I will make a tour of the world in 80 days or less. Do you accept?
I accept.
Good. The train leaves for Dover this evening. As today is Wednesday, the 2nd of October, I shall be due back in this very room on Saturday, the 21st of December at 8:45. Good evening, gentlemen. By 20 minutes to 9, my servant, Passepartout, and I were seated in a first-class carriage. A few minutes later, the whistle screamed, and the train moved slowly out of the station. We were on our way to Dover on the first lap of our journey.
Around the world in 80 days. Oh, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
We will have to purchase clothing as we need it. The less we are burdened with, the faster we can travel.
Around the world in 80 days. Oh, Monsieur Fogg, something terrible has happened. Something catastrophic. I'm ruined.
What has happened?
In my hurry, I completely forgot.
You completely forgot what?
to turn off the gas in my room.
Very well, young man. It will burn until we get back to London at your expense. And so we were on our way. On Wednesday, October the 9th, we saw the minarets of Suez in the pale rays of the sun. That same afternoon, we started across the Red Sea for Bombay. We were 4 3/4 days out when I observed that Passepartout and I appeared to have been joined by another person who was never quite out of sight. Finally, I decided to question him. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Fogg, and you are...
Fix, Mr. Fix.
Well, Mr. Fix, to come directly to the point, you seem to be following me about rather closely. Will you be good enough to tell me why?
Sorry, no offense meant. Man gets lonely, and you are a fellow Englishman.
Indeed. Somehow I would have expected a far more clever answer from a detective. You couldn't be a very good one.
I'm good enough to recognize a thief when I see one.
I beg your pardon?
I suppose you don't know anything about the £55,000 bank robbery in England?
Of course I know about it.
I thought so.
Everyone in England knows about it. It was all over the papers.
There's no use trying to conceal the truth now. I recognized you in Suez. That's why I'm on this ship.
You recognized me?
We were telegraphed a description of the bank robber.
But if you thought I was the bank robber, why didn't you arrest me in Suez?
I had to wire London for a warrant. I expect to receive it in Bombay.
You, of course, expect me to deny these ridiculous accusations?
I do.
Well, I shall not disappoint you. I do deny them. However, you think me a liar, and I think you a fool. So there is no further point in continuing the conversation. Good day.
Mr. Fogg, how did you know I was a detective?
My dear fellow, you look like a detective. On Sunday, October the 20th, we stepped off the boat into the mystery and wonder of Bombay. Bazaars, mosques, temples, pagodas, all waited like a silent invitation, but there was no time to linger. We headed for the railroad station and boarded a train bound for Calcutta. Mr. Fix, the detective, had disappeared. But as the train left the station, we saw him rush across the platform and shake his fist angrily as we pulled away. And at 8 o'clock that evening, the train came to a stop in the midst of a glade some 15 miles beyond Rotal. From there to Calcutta, we had to make our way by elephant. I purchased an animal and acquired the services of an intelligent young Parsi as a guide. Passepartout and I sat in howdahs on either side of the elephant, and we were on our way. Our journey passed without incident until exactly 12 minutes past 4 in the afternoon, when our elephant suddenly turned off into a thicket and stopped. What is it? Why have we stopped, boy?
A procession of Brahmins is coming this way, master. They must not see us.
Monsieur Fogg, look at that woman marching between those men with the sabers.
That is the funeral procession of the Raja of Bundelkund. The woman is his wife. She is to be sacrificed, burned at daybreak.
Sacrificed? Where are they taking her?
To the pagoda of Pilaji, 2 miles from here. It is there that the sacrifice will be performed at dawn.
Passepartout, I think we should make an attempt to save this young woman. I have exactly 12 hours to spare. I can devote them to that purpose.
It is a very dangerous undertaking.
Danger does not frighten me.
Monsieur Fogg, you are a man of great heart.
Sometimes, when I have the time. Come, let us go to the pagoda of Pilaji.